Hello there. This is Dimon360, and I'm coming with my long-awaited sequel to my top 10 Legends stories. I don't even think it was long-awaited. I don't think anybody asked for it. But my top 10 canon stories. So these are my top 10 Disney canon stories, just all made by Disney. No Legends or anything. So, hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into this. Alright. At number 10, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, I don't hate this movie. I said it best in my ranking of all the Star Wars movies. You can check that out if you want. But, yeah, I don't hate this movie, but I don't really love it either. It's one that I don't despise, and I can find some enjoyment in it, but I don't really think it's worth rewatching. Actually, I haven't really rewatched it since theaters. I think I've maybe watched it once since then, and it wasn't even me who chose to watch it or something, but yeah, it's definitely not, like, it's not bad, in my opinion. It's not a bad film, but for me, I just didn't find, like, rewatch value in it. There are some fun scenes, some fun little heist and scoundrel scenes, and like the train heist at the beginning is kind of fun, and the escape of Corellia, but for me, I don't dislike this film, but I don't really love it either, so it's kind of just an average spot. It's just kind of the film that when I'm ranking all the films, I'm like, oh yeah, it's that one. Cool. Alright, at number 9, we have the short comic series Anakin and ObiWan. I think it's by Charles Soule. But, again, I didn't really dislike this series. And for me, I'm happy they focused on that timestamp. Because, for me, the most underutilized time period in Star Wars is the 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. And more specifically, stories showing the friendship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, they show us all the stuff in the Clone Wars, like, they're best friends, but they don't show us Anakin's training or anything. So, this was a nice little story to jump into that timepiece. It wasn't anything crazy, it was just like a little civil war, and Obi-Wan and Anakin went down and helped them, and I liked seeing Palpatine kind of trick Anakin, bring him to the bar, and start feeding him his first lies. It was pretty cool, but again, like, I would definitely reread it, but I mean, there's several other comics I would read before it, but I would consider it worth a read, like maybe once or twice, but it's not like the greatest thing ever, but it's definitely like a nice little thing to have and be like, it's a nice little story. But again, it's no Legacy, but is anything going to top Legacy? Alright, moving on to number 8, we have the Bad Batch Clone Wars arc. Now, in terms of the Clone Wars, I'm only doing Season 7 because that was the only season Disney did. So, I'm only counting that for their stories. So, that would be Bad Batch, Siege of Mandalore, and the Martez Sisters arc, which you will not see on this list because it is terrible. But, anyway, the Bad Batch arc for me is at number 8 because, I mean, it was a nice arc. It's not Siege of Mandalore. You will see that later down the list. But, it was a nice little arc. It showed some cool clone troopers. It showed us, like, it was kind of weird, but, like, I kind of got it. Personally, I don't really think they're worth making a TV show off of. But that's just my opinion. But they are still cool. So I liked how they were all like different types. You had the heavy, the tech guy, the sniper, and then the basic guy. It's almost like the Battlefront 2 classes. You had the Assault, the Heavy, the Officer, and the Specialist. Like, think about it. Hunter's the Assault, Wrecker's the Heavy, Tech is the Officer, and, dang it, who is the other one? The Sniper dude. Like, I forget his name. Leave it in the comments below. I'll probably figure it out after I upload this, but he's the Sniper, he's the Specialist, which I think is a nice little gag. I like the hint at Obi-Wan knowing that Anakin and Padme are together. I like him kind of knowing that. But, it was a nice entrance to the Clone Wars, and for me, it got us ready for what was to come. Except for the Martez sister arc. Alrighty, moving on to number 7, we had the Darth Vader comic series, specifically the 2015 one, the very first one. For me, this one was interesting because it focused on like the scientists who helped build Vader's suit, and I liked the idea of Palpatine trying to get other cyborg apprentices because Vader lost a lot of his potential. That's why he wanted Luke. It was because Luke didn't have these handicaps, even though he was missing a hand. But still, I liked that, like the concept and stuff. I liked Vader having to go behind the Emperor's back and stuff. But for me, it was interesting. It was a unique idea that I liked. So, but I mean, it just wasn't on the top of my list. I liked Palpatine being mad at Vader for the loss of the Death Star and all that. Like, that was obvious, but like, it felt like they were playing it too safe. Like, Palpatine just shuns Vader, like, oh, we're not going to talk anymore. Where in Legends, he brings him right to his thing, cuts his arm off, and just throws him out in a fit of rage in Legends. Which I think would have been more consuming. Like, yeah, demoting Vader would make sense, but I wouldn't expect Palpatine to just be like, oh, like that. I know a lot of people do like Dr. Aphra. I personally don't. I just find her weird. So, I mean, it was an overall decent series, but it wasn't, like, great. But I wouldn't put it on, like, the top list of my reads. But it was still pretty good. Alright, number 6 is another Darth Vader comic series, and this is the 2017 comic series. I think it's like Dark Lord of the Sith, Dark Heart of the Sith, I don't know. But it was the second of the third one. It was the one that Vader and canon after Revenge of the Sith. There were some things I liked about this. I liked Vader meeting the Inquisitors. It reminded me a lot of, in Legends, when Palpatine was ordering him to train the Antinous Tremaine and his Inquisitors, which I like the similarities between the two, with Vader just wrecking the Inquisitors. Unfortunately, Tremaine is no longer canon. I really liked him, but you know what? I'm not here to just spite canon. I'm just going to talk purely canon-wise. I'm not going to spite anymore. But, it was kind of nice. I liked how, instead of just screaming no, Vader actually got pissed and threw Palpatine into a wall, and then Palpatine blasted him with lightning, and I kind of like the quest with the lightsaber crystal, but I don't really know how I feel about the bleeding the kyber crystal. I mean, it's a kind of cool explanation, but I mean, it doesn't really make sense, like how Palpatine or Maul or Plagueis or like Bane got their red lightsabers. So I don't really know how I feel about that. So I kind of prefer the synthetic crystals, but hey, that's my opinion, not yours. Some people might love it. I did like the Fortress Vader. I liked him trying to go after Padme and realizing I can't actually. I don't know if the Jocasta new arc was necessary, but I did like it. I didn't, like, love it, but I did like it. I liked a little more backstory on the Grand Inquisitor because, so far, the only Inquisitor that actually feels human to me is the second sister from Jedi Fallen Order. And as a leader of the Inquisitors, I should be still having some liking for him. Unfortunately, I don't, but, you know, it was nice to get some backstory on him, rather than just, well, none. However, my biggest problem with this is it feels like Vader just goes from Anakin to Vader in, like, a second. Like, it was like a complete personality shift as soon as he jumps into the suit. And I didn't know if I liked that. I would have wanted to see Vader having conflict with himself. Or, like, struggling with the emotions of Anakin from the beginning. Not just with the castle arc. Like, throughout the whole thing. He should have been struggling. We should have been seeing, like, these emotional outbursts. We should have been seeing these, like, him going between the light and the dark. We should have had the Jedi at the beginning, or Jocasta being like, "You're not on the light or the dark. You're completely switching between the two. You're in conflict." Something like that. But apart from that, it was an enjoyable read. So, there's that. Alright, so number 5 is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, if you've listened to my ranking of all 11 Star Wars movies, you know I do hold Rogue One in pretty high regards. I consider it the best movie that Disney has done so far, not like they've had any, like, not like it's had any good challengers, but, like, yeah. We're not going to get into that. But for me, I liked the darkness of Rogue One. I liked the depth. I also liked how, there was, like, a defector actually put a flaw into the Death Star. And yes, Death Stars do need exhaust ports. But, like, I liked how, like, there was a specific one that had a trap in it. I liked the Battle of Scarif. It was a pretty intense battle. It wasn't just a bunch of CGI just blowing up. There was actually, like, we knew what each side was trying to do. Destroy the shield gate, and so to allow the plans to come up and Empire to stop the plans from getting delivered. Great battle. The use of fan service was good for the most part, except for the C-3PO R2-D2 thing. But, like, apart from that, like, everything with Vader in that film, I felt was done perfectly. I know a lot of people weren't able to empathize with the new characters. I kind of did. Not all of them, but most of them. My only gripes are the whole Saw Gerrera on Jedha. It is kind of like, what? Son. And yeah, that's about it. I just like the darkness of it. I like that everyone dies. They were doing risks. They were playing risks that the other movies that Disney made just are not willing to take. And I like those risks. High risk, high reward. Alright, so moving into number 4, we have the first and only novel or audio drama, which is Dooku Jedi Lost. For me, Dooku as a Jedi was one of the most underutilized things in both canon and Legends. Legends suffered from it too, and I liked that canon actually went into his Jedi life. I liked seeing his apprenticeship, going to a master, watching him get disillusioned, watching his struggle with the dark side. I did like it. I liked his relationship with Sifo Dyas, and I definitely saw, like, yeah, these guys are actually friends. They are actually close, which makes it pretty heartbreaking when Dooku goes to kill him. I liked the idea of Sifo Dyas having all these crazy visions and why he created the clone army. I think that was a pretty good idea. I enjoyed it, and I liked Dooku's struggle with the dark side. I liked the tiny explanation on the Lost 20, but again, I want to see more of the Lost 20. I hope canon does that. But also the audio drama, Dooku is voiced by the guy who plays the male Sith Inquisitor in Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. And if you didn't know, I'm a big fan of Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO. And my OG class was the male Sith Inquisitor, so hearing the audio drama and hearing that voice just gives me a lot of nostalgia. Alright, at number 3 is one I think everyone was expecting to be on this list. It is The Mandalorian. This is, again, the only... Actually, no, it's not the only Star Wars TV show to be on this list. But, It really is good. Like, it's something that when it was announced, I was actually pretty skeptical of it. I'm like, okay, it's just a bounty hunter story. And then the first episode came and blew me away. I initially didn't like how it was just going to be him running around with Baby Yoda, or the child, and running around just being like that. I kind of wanted to see that, but they still gave that. They gave the 6th and 5th episode, which were about him being a bounty hunter, just doing that life, and then him. They had a nice balance between the main plot and then the little subplots. I would have wanted more Thunderstorm. I would have wanted more with Moff Gideon and the child, but I guess we're gonna have to wait for season 2 for that. But hey, that just builds up the excitement. There were some filler episodes, notably the 2nd and 5th episode, but, like, I didn't dislike them, except for the 2nd episode. I didn't like the episode with the Jawas, but apart from that, I really didn't have a problem with any of the episodes. I enjoyed The Mandalorian, I enjoyed Cara Dune, Grief Karga, IG-11, Queel, Baby Yoda, Moff Gideon, and I don't know his name, but the guy who's sending the Mandalorian to buy the child. I really liked him as well. So, let's just hope season 2 is just as good and give us that freaking trailer. Alright, number 2 is a canon story that I talk about quite a bit on the channel. It's one that I absolutely adore, and it is Jedi Fallen Order. The only video game on this list. It's so good. Like, I don't really know where to start with Fallen Order because I love so many aspects of it. First of all, the story is phenomenal. I like the, almost like the Indiana Jones, like going into the tombs and finding the relics to find the holocron. I like it. I like it. I like all that. And then I like the settings. I like the different, like, change in the planets. I like how they weren't just the same. I like the mix between new and old planets. I liked seeing Kashyyyk and Dathomir, but I also liked Zepho and Bogano and Bracca. I liked all those planets as well. I also like the idea of Nur being like an ocean moon to Mustafar, but it had like the lava underneath with the water. There were some just great visuals there. Gameplay, I liked it, but it wasn't really my biggest thing with this game. No, the thing for me that made Fallen Order so great was the characters. Cal Kestis, the Second Sister, Seer Junda, Night Sister Marin, Terran Malicos, all of those characters, even Grease to an extent, were just fantastically written. They were just written so well. I liked seeing, like, Cal Kestis just not wanting anything to do with the Jedi or anything at the beginning. I liked his character arc. He had a better character arc in one video game than Rey did in 3 movies. How is that possible? Okay, I'm done. But I liked seeing him just not want to have anything to do with the Jedi, like, oh yeah, fun times, to the end where he's going out to save these children's lives. I like when Merrin starts questioning him about the mission, like, you realize you're putting them in more danger anyway. And then I did like Merrin's backstory. She was a survivor of Dathomir. She was like the last living Night Sister, which, you know, it's cool. We need more Night Sisters, and I mean, Merrin and Cal are, you never know. But I did like Merrin. I liked Seer and Trilla's past the most. That was my favorite part of the whole game, was them. For me, like, I loved how Seer was very secretive at the beginning, and we slowly learned her story, and Trilla kind of gave her point of view of the story. I like getting to see both point of views. Like, both of them weren't really lying, but they were, like, lying, in a way. And I like the humanity of Trilla. I liked how she just wasn't bad guy because bad guy. I liked her human nature and character. I also liked the introduction of Jaro Tapal, a Lasat Jedi. He was pretty cool. Terran Malicos was a surprise, but I did really enjoy it because, you know, I think it was something new. It wasn't just another Inquisitor. It was actually showing us that, yeah, not every survivor of Order 66 is being so key to the code. Like, there are Jedi that are just falling into insanity. So, I like that, but I could go on about Fallen Order, but this video is already as long as it is, so let's just get to the number 1 spot. Okay, so if you had told me to make this list 3 months ago, Fallen Order would have dominated for number 1. However, there was one more canon thing that happened that pushed it to the side, and that was the Siege of Mandalore from Season 7 of The Clone Wars. Now, I have my gripes with the Clone Wars TV show. I have my problems with it. But this arc was perfect. It was just perfect. There was nothing that could have made it better, in my opinion. Just seeing what happened to Maul, Ahsoka, and Rex during Revenge of the Sith was so great. And seeing, like, Obi-Wan and Anakin, like, with Revenge of the Sith going on, like, with Obi-Wan saying, like, yep, Dooku's dead, I'm going to hunt Grievous, and then Grievous attacking the Capitol, and then Ahsoka sensing Order 66, and Vader at the end was just beautiful. I loved, seeing Ahsoka. I loved how it started out the first episode, like, all happy and exciting, but then by the last episode, I wasn't crying. You were crying. But, it got, like, really emotional and quiet. Like, the first episode was, like, bombastic and exciting. So, I think my favorite episode in all 4 of them was the second one, The Phantom Apprentice. I just loved how Maul... When the trailer came out and he said, I was hoping for Kenobi, I was like, oh, God, no. But I liked how he wasn't just in it for Kenobi. He was in it, like, for the greater good. He wanted, like, in a way, he was acting kind of light side-ish, because he wanted to kill Anakin, depriving Sidious of his apprentice. And I liked how Ahsoka was going to initially, you know, join, rather than just be like, oh, this could change the events of all of Star Wars right now. Nope. I'm going to chicken out, force pull the lightsaber. Oh, it's broken. But I'll get to that in another video I have planned. But that's another video that's planned. But anyway, I like how she even considers it, but she just refuses to accept that Anakin's going to fall, and that's how their fight plays out. Speaking of their duel, yeah, that was phenomenal. That was spectacular. I mean, it's like, for me, the duel is bittersweet, but way more on the sweet side than it is on the bitter side. Like, if it was a bittersweet table on how bitter it is and how sweet, it's almost on the end of the top end of the sweet, but there's a little bit of bitterness. Because why aren't the live action duels this good? Like, why are the ones in live action just like just whacking each other? Like, I should have been seeing that level of choreography in the sequels. Or not even just the sequels, just the films in general. Like, you know what? We're not here to talk bad, we're here to talk good, because I love this arc. It was just great. The visuals were just spectacular. The shots were beautiful. Like the one that's actually there is where Ahsoka and she jumps down the fire. Maul taking out the hyperdrive. The Venator coming out of hyperspace and just crashing. When they bury the clones and all the helmets are on there. Vader picking up the lightsaber when it's snowy. And seeing his mask and everything. And the final shot with the clone trooper and Vader walking away. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Could not have asked for anything better. And there you have it. Those are my top 10 Star Wars canon stories. I have 2 more top 10s in the works. I'm probably just going to do what I did with this. So they won't be too long until they come. It will be my top 10 best and top 10 worst scenes in the Skywalker saga, or all 9 films, so stay tuned for those. They'll come pretty soon. As always, hope you guys enjoy. Like and subscribe if you want. It's not necessary, but I mean, you can if you want. This channel isn't getting very famous anytime soon, or ever, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Bye.